the time has finally come where we need to address the elephant in the TCG room. Okay, that doesn't even make sense, but anyways, you get what I'm saying. Is One Piece cooked? Is Dragon Ball Fusion and Union Arena gonna absolutely blast the One Piece TCG out of the water? Is it time to start selling your cards because the top is in? Well, we're gonna address it in today's video, guys. Before we get into it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you. And yeah, let's just have a serious chat. So there's obviously been a lot of speculation in the TCG world, and you know, from Pokemon, which was basically the cream of the crop, to One Piece, which has now become, you know, the hot topic for at least the last couple of months. People are starting to see a bit of a stagnation. It's making people a little nervous, you know? It's like, okay, what's going on? Right? Why don't we keep going up, up, up? And, you know, rightfully so. We all like to see our collector apps show us how much we're in profit. We like to see that straight line go up. But now people are starting to worry that there's going to be a big crash soon. And people are worrying that the One Piece TCG is cooked, it's time to roll over into something new, and all that sort of stuff. And we're talking about Union Arena, and we're talking about Dragon Ball Z. Now, before I get into my rant, let's just quickly look at some of these cards. So just starting off with Dragon Ball, you know, like Dragon Ball Fusions, it's been on the go for quite some time. I think it's been one of the oldest TCGs to still be around. Could be mistaken on that, but, you know, just taking a look at the cards, like, what stands out to you? Well, let's start off with how the most expensive card, which is this serialized Goku card, which has skyrocketed from $720 all the way up to $1,300, most recent sales being $5,300. How there is a very clear show of manipulation, of price manipulation happening here. And why is that? Well, because the very people responsible for pumping the bags of Pokemon for One Piece are trying to find the next big thing, which got people panicking, right? But we see the second most expensive card, which is also shot up, is going for about a little less than $1,000. Most recent market price is $1,500. But look at this. This was the 20th of January, and in only a couple of days, it's doubled in price. Makes you wonder, okay? The cards are okay looking. They all kind of look the same, if I'm being honest with you, and no hate to Dragon Ball or anything. I personally like these cards the most. But guys, there's clear evidence of price manipulation taking place here. But okay, hold on a second now. Let's kind of just, let's not attack Dragon Ball Fusions. Let's take a look at Union Arena. So the most expensive Union Arena card, apparently, is this card right here, which is the Union Arena Promotions Regionals for 25-26, the championship card. I don't even know who this character is. Okay. Second most expensive card, Asuna from Sword Art Online. It's dropped 25% apparently. But the main point I'm trying to get at here is the price differences are clearly a lot different from the One Piece prices here. So, like, is One Piece screwed, okay? Have we hit the top? Is the money going to come out now and go into other TCGs? Well, first of all, guys, I'm just going to tell you right now off the bat, like, One Piece is not screwed. I do not think there's going to be a crash relating to what's going on right now. And here's my pitch, okay? You know, the cards, first of all, in the One Piece TCG are phenomenal. There's so many, there's such a variety of cards going on here. We've got the manga chase cards, you know, which, you know, are iconic. We love these cards. We've now got this new variation with the red drop manga cards, which are super expensive. We've got treasure cup cards, which are trophy cards. I mean, compare that to this card. I mean, this gives me the gold Pokemon card vibes, which, by the way, they don't seem to do that well. They don't even look that nice, if I'm being honest with you. That's a personal opinion. But these treasure cup cards, still iconic, still great looking. We have our own serialized cards. I mean, I will admit, this Goku card's, it's all right. I don't have a problem with this Goku card. It's a serialized card, understandable. Does Union Arena have serialized cards? I believe they do have serialized cards. I think I saw a Sukuna one, but, you know, nonetheless, really great looking cards. We've got this whole SP stuff going on. We've got so much the gold and silver, the alt arts. I mean, like, these cards are just fantastic looking. They're iconic. They're beautiful. There's so many characters in the One Piece TCG. And I'm not trying to say that outshines Union Arena or Dragon Ball Z, okay? Because, like, straight up, there's too many characters in Union Arena. But my first argument here, for people who are worried about Union Arena overtaking One Piece, okay? While I do believe Union Arena will probably have its place in the spotlight at some point, You know, everyone's like, oh, is Union Arena going to overtake One Piece? There's so many IPs in here. There's so many characters in here. And I'm going to just be the first to say, and probably not the first to say it, but I'm just going to say it right now on the channel. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Union Arena suffers from being too diluted with IPs. I understand there are a ton of main characters in here. You know, Tanjiro, Demon Slayer, very relevant right now. You know, Black Clover, I guess. I mean, I tried to get in Black Clover, I couldn't, but I mean, Bleach is iconic. There's a lot to consider in here. But like, the problem is that there's just too much going on. It's not like a solid IP. It is just a fractionalized group of IPs coming together to try and beat One Piece. I personally think the way Dragon Ball is going about it is probably the only way you can really go about it without causing issues. Because guys, like, the truth is, let's say I want to get in Union Arena, okay? Which I've tried to, and it's weird, right? Because they're all under the same umbrella of, like, Union Arena. But like, I don't really care about Sword Art Online, okay? I don't really care about Black Clover. I don't really care about Kaiju number 8, which I've heard is a great anime, and it's not even that I wouldn't, you know, I'm just not into it yet. There's so many characters here that I don't know about. I mean, Yu Yu Hakusho, this show is so old. I remember collecting Shonen Jump when I was a kid, and this was still going on in there. And this is from like the 80s, isn't it? Like, but a lot of people would probably not know what Yu Yu Hakusho really is. And I just think that while there are some pretty cards in here, I guess, you know, they all kind of just look the same. Like, One Piece has such a variety of different looking cards, you know, and I just find that these all just look the same. These all give this, like, main character with, you know, little background, some, you know, abstract designs on it, words. They've got signatures on the cards. Is that the artist? You know, I just find that Union Arena's cards are just not that great. I mean, they all just look the same to me, you know, and I think that's a problem, personally. But mainly the dilution, the lack of variety of types of cards, and just like, you know, from a collector's standpoint, you could argue that, hey, well, if you don't like the animes that you're looking at or whatever, you're not going to really care about it. But guys, I mean, like, let's look at Big Mom for a second. You know, Big Mom's not the most attractive character to a lot of people, but she's relevant in One Piece in the story. You know, I mean, like, try explaining this to somebody who's never watched One Piece, you know? Would you ever really want to get a card like this? No, probably not, right? Kind of a weird card. But you get a card like this. This is a beautiful card. And if you've watched Whole Cake Island, this represents so much of that arc alone. And, you know, we've got Zeus, Prometheus, we've got the cake in the background, Big Mom, she's in her glee, you know, Napoleon. It's just a beautiful card. And I actually just ordered this card because and before you say I'm trying to pump my bags here, I'm trying to buy every freaking One Piece card in existence. So I guess I'm pumping every bag that I have. But guys, this card is a gorgeous card. But let's move away from that. There's a trophy card of this, the Treasure Cup card. Look at the intensity of this card, okay? The Treasure Cup card borders are really fantastic. They've got the stamps. There's a scene happening here. Same with this one as well. I mean, this is a menacing looking card, but it's just an iconic looking card. I mean, like, when we look at Union Arena, and, you know, I'll get into Dragon Ball now in a second. Yeah, so, I mean, now, again, I'm not the most educated person with Union Arena, but, like, these seem to be, you know, their version of Treasure Cup cards, and they're just kind of like these gold-looking cards, and I mean, like, I guess that's okay. I mean, this is what this screams to me, okay? Like, these gold cards from Pokemon, which I don't think there's too many that are really expensive. Don't quote me on that. I've seen plenty of them. I don't really like them. I don't think there's anything special about them. They lack substance. I mean, I don't know. Personal opinions, perhaps. But that's the vibes I'm getting off of this, okay? But the thing with Treasure Cup cards is we've got this really cool One Piece stamp here, this, like, holographic stamp, prove its authenticity. The borders around the card itself are textured and very cool and silvery and gold-like. The letters are textured. I would say that Treasure Cup cards are probably the most textured cards in the One Piece TCG. I just think what I'm trying to say here is that, like, I just think the One Piece cards in general offer a lot of variety. They offer a lot to collectors and investors, and I just think people who would want to buy these cards just for the sake of them or to pimp out their decks, I mean, there's just a lot to consider here, okay? It's not just about the manga cards. but it's like there's just so much going on in the One Piece TCG, and the alt arts are just fantastic. I mean, like, and we've got so many SPs. We've got the manga event cards. Really great stuff. But let's move on to Dragon Ball's Fusion real quick. So you could say, okay, Union Arena, it's diluted. They don't have the best looking cards, and I don't even know what the gameplay is like. Okay, I just don't think the look of a lot of the cards are great. I'm not saying they're all bad. There's some cool ones out there, but I think there needs to be a variety of scenes going on. You know, I like these signature cards, I suppose, are a cool add-on for, I believe these are the artists for these cards. So in a sense, that's new, and there's some novelty to that, I guess. But, you know, if you don't really know much about the character or the cards, you know, or the artist, it's just like, you know, but I get some people care about that. So, but I want to move on to Dragon Ball. So I think the problem with Dragon Ball is that it's kind of suffering from the same problem as Union Arena. It's just the cards all kind of look the same. Now, I'm a big fan of the manga boosters. I really liked the manga booster cards, personally. And you've got a couple of cards like this, which I think are really nice. You know, like it's got the family, you know, Goten, Gohan, Goku. That's really cool. We've got a lot of fight scenes going on, which is very natural and obvious to Dragon Ball, because that's what it's all about. But, like, every card I'm clicking onto looks like the same freaking card. Like, they're doing the same thing. They're all just blasting, okay? Which I get is what Dragon Ball is all about. We got a Trunks one here. Now, this one is a little better. This is a little better, okay? And we can see it's shot up a little bit, too. But, like, there's just not enough of these type of cards. These really nice-looking cards. Now, how textured is this? I have no idea. But, you know, a lot of the cards just kind of give the same vibe. Now, with the manga booster set or whatever, it was a little different. I did like these a lot. I thought these really stood out. In fact, these are kind of what pulled me in, because I didn't really care about a lot of these cards. But I really liked these. I did really like these. I thought they were a lot different. Now, I've heard that the playability of Dragon Ball is really weird and not a fan fave to a lot of people. So, and I'm only talking from a collector's point of view. But, you know, I just have questions. How textured are these? You know, does this appeal to a ton of people? Are these worth the money that's being pumped into them? I look at this page. We're kind of back to this problem again. A lot of these cards look the same. I mean, like, again, it could be preference. You could argue that I'm just full of shit and this is just my opinion. Maybe so. But there's just a lot of yellow going on. Are we noticing a lot of yellow? Lots of yellow here. Some variety, stuff like that. But besides the manga booster cards, and like I'm assuming they are. But okay. Let's kind of segue from blasting the cards, okay? They're not all bad. I actually own this card right here. Actually, let me just show you. Just to prove I'm not some total, you know, One Piece nut job. Let me open this. Yes, take a look. I've got some Dragon Ball Z cards, not too many. I did order this one, this Bulma card. I loved Dragon Ball growing up, and I just wanted to have some. And what else do I got here? Yes. I pulled this card. Son Goku. Really nice card. It's not too bad. I do think the Dragon Ball cards are a little more hit or miss, but rather than just blasting the cards, let's consider something else. You know, I made this comment a little while ago, and a lot of people were hating me on it. They were roasting me. By the way, I just want to say this card right here is probably one of my favorite Dragon Ball Fusion cards that I've come across. And as you can see, it's blowing up. But yeah, so like, okay, so let's move on from the cards and let's just talk about the IPs and stuff. So, you know, with Union Arena, it just suffers from too much dilution. I mean, if I were to get into Union Arena, I would probably only buy Demon Slayer cards and maybe Full Metal Alchemist. Would that appeal to people who've never watched Full Metal Alchemist? Obviously not. Or who've never watched Demon Slayer? Obviously not. You know, am I going to start buying other packs that I don't care about? Probably not. Could that change down the road? For sure. But, like, there's just too much going on in here. And I just don't care. Like, people will obviously pump their bags, buy certain cards, all that sort of stuff. But it's just a very basic, you know, model to, you know, buy out the top cards. Like, obviously, a serialized card is going to get pumped. Like, wow, that's not a genius move. But for, like, Dragon Ball, it's like, okay, so compared to One Piece, like, how can you compare these two monsters, right? And, you know, the thing is that Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, just the whole IP, it's iconic. It's culturally relevant in so many ways. It's very important to anime, to manga, and all that sort of stuff. But I just don't think as of right now, it is the most relevant anime. And it's not me saying like, oh, like forget Dragon Ball, like who cares, Dragon Ball Z. It's not really about that. It's the fact that like, okay, in terms of relevancy, as of right now, what is big that's going on with Dragon Ball Z right now? I can't really think of too many things. Are there some new games that have come out? I mean, I don't know. Probably. Are they continuing the show? I think I've heard they're going to continue the show. I think there's going to be a new series where they're like younger or something. But like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's just like where's the hype? Where is the, like, I don't really know. And perhaps I'm missing something because I'm not super deep into that space. But just from everything I see, and I'm always trying to keep my eye on things, I'm just not seeing a lot coming from that space right now. That doesn't take away the fact that you love Dragon Ball Z. That's not me saying Dragon Ball Z is garbage. But One Piece is just so relevant. We've got the live action show. We're on season 2. Where's the live action Dragon Ball Z? Oh, let's not talk about that. We've got the anime that is still pumping out episodes that are mind-blowing, okay? We are still getting the story written by Oda himself. We're moving to Elbaf. We're in Elbaf, what am I saying? But the anime will be adapting this year, I believe. So, you know, there's just a lot of hype going on right now. We're getting One Piece cards at sporting events. I mean, like, the Dodgers card was so interesting to me, you know, because, like, that's pretty huge. You know, LA Dodgers, huge team, and to get an official Luffy card like that, it's pretty significant if you ask me. I don't really care about this basketball Luffy card so much, but, I mean, to get an official sports team to partner up with Luffy is pretty crazy. Now, are there Union Arena sports cards? Please educate me. Same thing with Dragon Ball. Is there anything recently that's happened? I don't think so. But yeah, I just think One Piece has just been hitting the game hard. You know, I just think it's been a very relevant thing the last little while. They've really gone ham with their marketing. They're having tournaments all the time, and you know, I'm sure Dragon Ball Z and Union Arena or Fusions are having their tournaments as well. But like, you know, there's just so much going on with One Piece. I just think One Piece just offers so much. So like, the question is, are we cooked? No. I don't think it took 20 minutes to get into this video to realize if we're cooked or not. Even if you're not a fan of One Piece, you can't deny the cards look way better, okay? They just look way better. There's nothing quite like these abstract looking SPs that are offered in Union Arena as far as I can see. In terms of even like the top, like the first 5 pages of the most expensive cards, you know? Like there's just way better looking cards in the One Piece TCG. I think they offer a lot more in terms of longevity, collectability, all this sort of stuff. There's also, I don't really know what the print runs are like with Union Arena, but I know for a fact with One Piece, they've always been quite low. You know, we've got different forms of sets. We've got the EB sets, which are low print runs. We've got the PRB sets, which are reprint sets, which are also low print runs. You know, we've just got so much variety. We've got scarcity. You know, we've got desirability. We've got collectability. We've got a lot going on in here. So just like to sum it all up, guys, while obviously, you know, we're probably going to go through a little bit of correction with the One Piece cards, I would not be freaking out. You should not be just selling your bags because you're seeing the numbers go down a little bit. You know, I think One Piece is just getting started. There's a lot to consider. And although, you know, Dragon Ball and Union Arena will probably have their day, they will, and it seems like it's already happened in Dragon Ball, I do think we're probably going to be good long-term, personally. But if you want to dabble in Dragon Ball, Fusions, or Union Arena, like, do it. You know, do it because you want to do it. I mean, if you're doing it to place your bets, I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But I do think One Piece is safe. I do. I just think the cards are just incredible. Even if you don't like One Piece, they're just incredible. But anyways, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope this was an interesting kind of insight on how I'm viewing all of this stuff. But if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And videos should pop on the screen. Click it, and I will see you over there.